In Pokémon Scarlet and Violet, there is mention of a legendary Pokémon. A legendary that is a secret to us at this point because it's only ever mentioned and not seen. Not much is known about this legendary other than that it is the origin of the terrestrialization phenomenon. But in this video, we're going to be talking about a pretty shocking connection that could be giving us some details about what this Pokémon is actually like and where it came from. So this connection is one that was not actually made by me, but instead made by a Reddit user by the name of sdrey. sdrey emailed me with this idea and very kindly offered it as a potential video idea, so a big shout out goes to them, and I will also leave a link to their original Reddit post in the description. Concerning this secret legendary Pokémon though, if you are not yet aware at this point, there is a Pokémon that is mentioned in both Professor Sada and Turo's notebooks within Area 0, and within the Scarlet and Violet books. This Pokémon is described as being the origin of the terrestrialization phenomenon, but its identity is kept a secret, and its description does not match any Pokémon that is currently known so far. It is almost assuredly the case that it is only a matter of time before this Pokémon is revealed to us, likely in some form of DLC, but at present we know very little about it. However, this connection that I've been referring to that was originally made by sdrey could very possibly be giving us even more details about this Pokémon that haven't been formally revealed yet. What is this connection to, you might ask? Well, a movie, actually. More specifically, the movie Annihilation. Now, I know this seems like a pretty unusual and even far-fetched connection to make, and I was admittedly a little bit skeptical as well when this was first brought to my attention, but the similarities between this movie and the plot of Pokémon Scarlet and Violet are honestly striking. To give you guys a quick summary, the movie is about the exploration into this mysterious area known as Area X, and expeditions are conducted to explore what exactly is going on in this area. The area itself is also a bit of a crater, as it initially formed from the result of a fallen meteorite. Is any of this starting to sound familiar to you? Within Area X are also large amounts of crystals and crystal-like formations that have formed in the area. Additionally, the wildlife within Area X have been affected as well, resulting in strange mutations giving way to strange new beasts that are recognizable but also different. Sound familiar? It is also mentioned that the main character, Lena, has gone on expeditions into Area X, but has returned with no memory of what she experienced, which is also something that happened to the character Heath in Scarlet and Violet, as he mentions the same kind of memory loss while in Area 0 in the Scarlet and Violet book. There's even the fact that the origin point of Area X in the movie, where the meteor that created it crashed, is the site of a lighthouse, which we see all over Paldea, and one is even the site of Professor Sada and Turo's lab. And speaking of Sada and Turo, there is also a man in the movie known as Kane, who is Lena's husband, who dies within Area X during an expedition, but a clone of Kane of some kind eventually makes its way out instead, and you're led to believe throughout the movie that the clone of Kane is actually the real one, until it's revealed at the end that it's not. Is any of this ringing a bell to you guys? There are some major connections between the plot of this movie and the plot of Scarlet and Violet, even if it does seem like a crazy connection to make. It's also worth pointing out that this movie released in early 2018, which would have been only shortly before the development on Scarlet and Violet would have begun, making it very possible that someone over at Game Freak just happened to watch this movie and decided to take some inspiration from it when it came time to work on the Gen 9 games. With that foundation established, however, we need to now focus back in on this secret legendary Pokémon. If the Annihilation movie has this many similarities with the plot of Scarlet and Violet, then it's reasonable to assume that we can connect this legendary back to the movie as well, and potentially learn some more things about it. As mentioned, the area known as Area X in the movie was created by a meteorite strike, and all of the craziness that poured out of this area, like the crystals and the mutated wildlife, is due to a mysterious alien life form known as the Shimmer, that resided within the meteor when it crashed. Which, by the way, is yet another similarity with Scarlet and Violet, as we know that this mystery Pokemon I've been talking about is the origin of the terrestrial crystals that can be found within Area Zero, just like the Shimmer. Therefore, I feel like we can reasonably assume that this secret legendary Pokemon is also something that is not of this world, and it ended up in Paldea when a meteor struck the region and created the Great Crater of Paldea 1 million years ago. Because after all, it's called a crater, and that is how craters are typically created. Then, emerging from the meteor and its crash site, this legendary Pokemon would have begun to affect the area around it, resulting in the terrestrialization crystals that it is known to be responsible for, and mutating the nearby Pokemon, not only with their newfound ability to terrestrialize and change types, but also even possibly explaining where the Paradox Pokemon are actually coming from, rather than being from the past and future, which could also explain why these Pokemon were seen on past expeditions hundreds of years ago before Sada and Turo's time machine even existed. That is a bit of a side tangent that may or may not be true, but it's definitely something to chew on. Anyway, since the terrestrialization crystals also create type changes for the Pokemon that come across them, like I said, it's likely that this legendary is going to have an ability relating to type changes as well, and potentially might be able to be all of the types in some way, shape, or form. This is a pretty logical prediction for this Pokemon in my opinion, whether you rely on the movie connections or not, since the direction that the movie is pointing us in is also basically the same exact thing that we have seen with the third box art legendaries of the past two generations with Eternatus and Necrozma. So clearly there's a bit of a trend in what Game Freak are wanting to do with their legendaries lately, and therefore it seems likely that it could happen again. Whatever ultimately ends up happening, however, I'm pretty well convinced that this general description of an alien type-changing Pokemon is what we can expect to see from this legendary once it is officially revealed to us. But what do you guys think? Be sure to let me know all of your thoughts about this in the comments below, and once again, a big shout out to sdrey on Reddit for allowing me to make a video with their discoveries. Be sure to like the video as well if you enjoyed, and subscribe for more if you're new, and with that said, I will be back with another one very soon. And until then, as always, thanks so much for watching this one, I really appreciate it, and I will smell you guys later.